John chapter 11, the raising of Lazarus. Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. This Mary, whose brother Lazarus now lay sick, was the same one who poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." When he heard this, Jesus said, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is that God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus, yet when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was 2 more days. Then he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." "But Rabbi," they said, "a short while ago the Jews tried to stone you, and yet you're going back there?" And the story of them stoning Jesus is in the previous chapter, in chapter 10. And he's going to stone him for blasphemy, that he, a mere man, claims to be God. And now he's going back into the same territory. The story takes up the whole of the chapter. And really, it's the story of 2 encounters. It's an encounter on a positive side and on a negative side. On the positive side, it is Jesus dealing with Mary and Martha and the family there. And on the negative side, it's Jesus and the response from the Jewish authorities and Caiaphas, the high priest. So one is a negative response, they took counsel how to kill Jesus, and the other is a positive response, they see the glory of God. And at the centre of it, like a kind of crux, a cross, is Lazarus, the man Lazarus. In fact, the negative response is so strong that they decide to kill Lazarus as well, because he's become so famous because of this raising from the dead. And it's obvious that Mary and Martha have chewed this over somewhat, because Jesus comes to the town and he meets each one of them separately, and they both come with the same response. They say, "You delayed, Jesus. If you'd come on time, our brother would not have died." And he's stated the point in the prelude, in the introduction that we just read. He's saying, this is not unto death, this is for the glory of God. So they offered this bit of a kind of veiled rebuke to Jesus. Why didn't you come sooner? But clearly Jesus felt the need to delay, and the disciples were surprised that he was going back there at all. So he told them, Lazarus is asleep. And they said, "Oh, well, if he's asleep, that's all right." He said, "No, Lazarus is dead." So he lays it on the line. He has a word of knowledge. He has inside information. He knows what has happened, and he also knows what he's going to do about what's happened. And so he's walking and working according to a different agenda. He feels the pull of circumstances and this word of knowledge. He feels this close, intimate relation that he walks in with God, the Father, puts him on a different level with the people around him. And so he returns, and he faces the crowd of mourners, and with Eminem, Mary and Martha, and their rebuke, and he sees them separately. And every time there's an encounter with Jesus in the book of John, you're taken from one level to another. But in chapter 11, there's a new twist, and it's like those who believe are taken to a higher level of belief, and those who disbelieve are taken to a more determined area of resistance. The good get gooder and the bad get badder. You got it? So now we're told about Mary and Martha. We're told this is the Mary who poured her heart out in worship. This is the Mary who loved Jesus. And it says, and Jesus loved Martha and her sister Mary and Lazarus. So the bar is pretty high already of their belief. They believed in him. They worshipped him. So how can you go higher than that? Well, Jesus is going to prove that you can. So he goes to Martha. He says, "Lord, why didn't you come sooner?" "Martha, your brother will rise again." "Yes, I know he'll rise again. He'll rise at the last day." That's standard Jewish teaching. And it was believed by the Pharisees, the resurrection of the righteous. Standard teaching. But then he makes this claim. He says, "I am the resurrection and the life." This is the new level that he's taking them to. And if you're saying that in Aramaic, you have 2 clauses, and the clauses run together. So it says, he's not saying, "I am the resurrection and the life." He's saying, "I'm the resurrection life. I'm the new quality life. I am life in a new dimension." And he is raising their ideas about what that life looks like. I know my brother will rise again on the last day, but he's saying, I am the last day, now. And this becomes the basis for raising Lazarus from the dead. He goes to the tomb, they watch his emotions, they see this display of tears. He said, why couldn't he raise him? Why couldn't he come sooner? And then he declares life to Lazarus. Lazarus comes out, and they're brought into a new awareness of who Jesus is. He is not the Lord of a teaching. He is not simply the Messiah. He is the resurrection life. He's the new quality life. He is the life from God. He's the one from above. So that's the story. But then the story goes on and deals with the negative response of Caiaphas and leaders, the high priest. Some people have responded with delighted surprise, others with determined hatred and horror. They immediately take counsel how to kill Jesus. Why? Because it wasn't what they wanted. Do you see? The raising of Lazarus was a mighty thing. It was a huge miracle. But miracles, listen very carefully, are not enough. Miracles are a sign, but they're a sign to something or someone. They're not the thing itself. If you seek miracles, then you're bound to be disappointed, because the miracles are a sign to something greater still. That means the presence of the sovereign God. You remember that guy that got raised in Africa a few years ago? And it was interesting to see the responses of people too, raised from the dead. It was interesting to see the responses of the people. I was speaking with people and they said, well, he probably wasn't dead. He probably really wasn't dead. He just swooned and came back. And it was, oh, well, somebody said this, these things happen in Africa but not in England. That's what somebody said to me. And all levels of unbelief, because you see how uncomfortable you've got to be if you just sort of said, it did happen and it can happen. Because then all of a sudden, all your preconceived ideas about what is normal have been upset. And when the Jews gathered together to take counsel about this miracle, they said, this is either true or false, and I don't want to believe that it's true, because if it's true, then this is what Caiaphas said, the Romans will come and take away our place and our nation. They were comfortable where they were. They were comfortable with their own position. And so the miracle happens, and you've got two responses. And Caiaphas said, well, it's better that one person should die for all than that all should perish. And John, the author, says he was prophesying, but he was high priest that year. And so even though he didn't understand what he was saying, he was prophesying of what was necessary, what had to happen in the person of Christ. Because it's like the crux had happened. And so here's the point for today. Here's the point from the whole of the chapter 11. You either believe or you don't believe. And if you believe, it takes you on a journey that is staggering and radical and maybe dangerous. If you don't believe, you are hardened in your disbelief. You cannot just stay on the fence. You are either for Jesus or against him. And there, we'll leave it today, but that's the point where we're coming to. The cross of Christ is what happens when the good meets the bad. And it's an irreconcilable difference. And what we're seeing in the story of Lazarus is that crux point. Choose ye today whom you will serve. Amen. May God bless you.